Welcome to VisionCast.
What's up, folks? Welcome to VisionCast, the official Ranger Vision podcast. I am your host, Red Mystic Ranger. You might have heard me in the last couple ones as Crimson Ranger, but that's no longer my name. Anyway, joining us today, we have GoldPhoenixRanger.
Yellow.
We have my good friend, Kamen Rider Decade.
Sup?
And we have the putty, Chriz, aka the mole.
What?
Yeah, putty.
Yeah, honey.
Yeah, putty. Anyway, let's turn this over to GoldPhoenixRanger with the news.
And thank you, Red Mystic Ranger. We have quite a bit of news in all of our news sections today, so let's take a look. First off, as always, is our board news here on Ranger Vision. One of the biggest announcements we have to make, as mentioned previously, we're beginning a program where we are forming alliances with some of the different Ranger media providers in the fandom. And we are having them join our board as what we're calling Media Masters, a special new user group, and giving each of them a subforum in our Viewing Globe category, newly resurrected, so that they can interact with their fans on the board, seek ideas, post their episodes for fans to find, etc., etc. Thus far, of course, VisionCast itself has a forum, and we have previously acquired the alliance of Morphin Legacy, who is still with us. We've added several additional Morphin Masters since that time. First of all, Database Ranger of Database Ranger's Power Reviews has agreed to join us and has his own section, so do check out his reviews there. We've also recently added Bruno and Mia of MMPR Toys. Do check out their content in their section. And we've added Raging Phoenix, who many know as a longtime Ranger Vision member, and who has recently teamed up with our own RMR and Hakumen, a known member, to form their own podcast called Spandex Cast. So in the interest of friendly relations, we've also given them their own subforum. So check out all those wonderful media masters, support all their media, subscribe to them on YouTube, follow them on the social networking, support them, we encourage it. We're hoping to have Database Ranger for an interview on the VisionCast, possibly more if he's interested. He had mentioned being interested in some of the debate as well, so we'll have to further work out scheduling with that. And hopefully in the future we might be able to speak to Bruno and Mia. And of course we've had our good friend Mr. Ranger Phoenix before, but perhaps he'd like to stop by and talk about Spandex Cast. We'll see where that goes. So do check out all that. In relation to these new media masters joining us and having their subforums displayed on the homepage, we've had to reorganize some of our other forums to accommodate this. This is to combat a problem we had in the past where there were too many forums on the main page and it looked very bulky and hard to navigate. To help with this, we decided to take the action of removing the Aquabase as its own category on the main page. You might remember the Aquabase is the discussion section of the board. Instead, the Aquabase is now a forum underneath Terra Venture at the top of that section, and within the Aquabase you can still find the three known discussion forums: the Morphin Grid for Power Rangers discussion, Lost in Translation for Sentai and Tokusatsu discussion, and Ernie's Juice Bar for off-topic discussion, and their respective sub-forums within. So any discussion can be found within that area. Now, it was just condensed down within a forum in order to alleviate excessive items being displayed on the main page. There may be some further reorganization going on. We're looking into some other changes to make the front page a little more attractive, a little easier to navigate, and just a little more fun. So do stay tuned. Karama and I are looking into some possibilities, and we'll see where that goes. The third thing I should mention is, of course, that the Power is Yours contest is now in officially full swing. All the contestants have their threads up with their promo videos and images, and their first chapters episodes, have been posted. So, of course, while entries are closed, we do encourage all members of the board to read these stories, check them out, comment on them, support the entrants. Let them know who your favorite is, root for them. give them ideas, help them. We encourage a lot of fan interaction with this to, support your favorite contestants in the contest. The scoring for the first set of episodes will be out at the end of this week, on off weeks of the entry dates, as entries are submitted every other week. So stay tuned for entries on that. Support your favorites and give those a look, because they're some really awesome looking seasons, and I'm very excited about the contest. Speaking of contests, our own, again, Red Mystic Ranger, has also launched a new set of the season contest. Previously, we had Avatar and Signature of the Month contests for our various graphic artists, but it seemed like there wasn't as much generated interest in them, and that the time frame might have been a little short. So rather than have two separate contests and have them be weekly or monthly, RMR came up with the idea of having these contests be seasonal, so for example 4 times a year approximately, and each entrant being required to submit both an avatar and a signature, hence the set of the season name. So if you're interested in entering that, please do so. There's plenty of time to enter, weeks and weeks, as it is of course seasonal. So do check out the theme. Actually, I don't think there is a theme. So just do create the best you can. We're always looking for great graphic artists to submit. There are some good prizes for that, so do read up in that thread in the Trials of Maranthius. That's all the board news for now. So we will move on to the Power Rangers news. The Power Rangers news includes, first of all, it has been confirmed that for Super Mega Force, the second season of the Mega Force anniversary season of Power Rangers, the Gokaiger suits, or the pirate suits as you might know them, will be a power-up mode for the Mega Force Rangers rather than a new standard suit. So the Rangers will still use the GoSager suits, or the current Mega Force suits, primarily, but upgrade to the Gokaiger suits, and from there upgrade into the various powers and suits of past Rangers, which seems a little like an extra step to go, but we'll see how they work it out, and hopefully that will work out well. We've also have confirmation from one of the sources of Fury Diamond on Ranger Crew. One of his sources within Saban has confirmed that Cameron Jebo, I'm not sure if it's either Jebo or Jibo, who was a finalist for the Troy character, the Red Ranger, has been confirmed to be the Silver Ranger for the Super Mega Force season. It remains to be seen whether he will be Gokai Silver or an originally created Silver Ranger like the Titanium Ranger of Lightspeed Rescue, but it's fairly safe to assume that it will probably be Gokai Silver. The third set of Megaforce news is that a number of images from the Megaforce set have been leaked. The first item to mention is that some photos were tweeted by Sierra Hanna of she and Jason Smith, whom you might know as Casey, the Red Jungle Fury Ranger, who was obviously on set with them. We've also seen photos of the Lost Galaxy Rangers on set filming, of Wild Boars Black. We've seen a stuntman who was wearing a green boot, which was obviously the Gokai green boot, although since we've already confirmed the Gokaiger suits are part of this, that's obviously not unusual that you would see a Gokai suit pieces. We've also seen a table with a number of monster heads on it. One of them was Finster, of course, Rita Repulsa's go-to guy to create monsters and putties for her back in MMPR. And another was Demonite, one of Diabolico's sub-monsters that worked for him in, of course, the Lightspeed Rescue season early on. The third item, which is rather interesting, is a helmet that is hard to identify at first because all these are simply in gray models at the moment. They're not painted. But the helmet in question appears to be the red Dragon Flame, I guess, helmet of Rohan from the Mystic Knights of Tir na Nog. For those that are unaware, during the 100 Years' War and many of the crossover events going on in Gokaiger and Tyson and some of the other crossovers, other non-Sentai characters have appeared. So it's possible that Saban is doing the same thing, as we also saw images of a steel crate labeled Donatello Stunt. Could this be an indication that the Ninja Turtles are returning? Maybe. Also seen in the images are a wardrobe full of various costumes, including the vest that Jason Smith is seen wearing in some of the pictures with Sierra Hanna, as well as the Gosager and Gokaiger suits hanging on a rack. There are a number of other costumes, some of which have been identified, some have not. Check out the Megaforce thread for more information on those. And the final image most recently tweeted was again from Sierra Hannah, which is a picture, obviously herself wearing the Gokai yellow suit and specifically holding the helmet in her hand, while the camera is clearly in her other hand. So, very cool to know that they're filming, they're in full swing, a lot of great stuff going on. I'll also mention that in some interviews over on Ranger Crew with some past cast members, they have mentioned being contacted for the anniversary season, though some have not been able to return, including Allison McInnes. Dana from Lightspeed confirmed that she was likely not going to be able to return, and the actor who played Carter from Lightspeed, I can't remember his name unfortunately, indicated that he might be returning. So we'll see where that goes. In Super Sentai and Tokusatsu news, first off in Super Sentai, let's see, it says here, in Kyoryuger, War Knight of Anger Do Gold is actually Kyoryu Gold, and there are also additional rumors on the other three remaining Kyoryugers that have yet to be introduced. The rumors include that Bonpachi's partner is rumored to be a military man from the Three Kingdoms Age in China, Plissen's partner is rumored to be a cosmonaut from the Soviet Union, and Brajiga's partner is rumored to be Daigo's son from the future, who is fighting a revived D-Boss Legion in his timeline. So those should all be appearing on Kyoryuger very soon, so do stay tuned for that if you have access to the dubbed footage. Also, in Kamen Rider news, this past weekend, Kamen Rider Beast Knight Kamen Rider Beast Hyper Mode premiered in the current Kamen Rider season, so that new form was also seen. So that is all the news that's fit to mention for right now. Always, of course, stay tuned to Ranger Vision, the Mega Force and Kyoryuger threads, and of course, the Angel Grove Times for any updated Sentai Power Rangers and board news, respectively. I'm GoldPhoenixRanger. Back to you, RMR.
Thank you for the news, GoldPhoenixRanger.
No problem.
Now we're going to go to a segment we do, doing the role-play game / fanfiction reading. And let's go to Kamen Rider Decade for that.
Thank you, Red Mystic Ranger. Yes, folks, we are bringing back the fanfic role-playing section, but we've kind of revamped it a little bit because I kind of didn't want to get rid of it. Wanted to, kind of highlight members and stuff. So we don't have a name for this section yet, so if you guys have any clever names, feel free to post it down in the comments. But so the way we've restructured this is whoever picks the fanfic or the role play for this current podcast, in this case happens to be myself, will read a small section of what it is they're choosing. In this case, I'm choosing our good friend Chriz the Mole's fanfic.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Can we suggest names as well?
Yes, you may.
If the members are okay with this one, because I know our good friend James Phoenix, or GoldPhoenixRanger, is also heavily involved in fanfiction and RPG, can we please name it It's Goldie's Playhouse?
Yes.
No.
There's a chair that freak and talks. Holy crap.
Just no.
Yes.
He said no! Ding ding ding! That's the word of the day!
Ah!
Well.
Nostalgia.
We have gone so far off the rails. Anyway.
Yes, yeah. Anyway, so basically, whoever chooses the topic of the day will read a snippet. In this case, as I was starting to say, I have chosen Chriz the Mole's fanfic, Power Rangers Defenders of the Grid, Season 1. I will be reading Chapter 8 of said season. And to pre-warn you guys, this is a rated R fanfic. So if you don't want to listen to rated R, I recommend skipping to the end of this part. But
There's so many rated R stuff on our board. Surely it must all be rated R.
Yeah, so let's just throw a rated R Chapter 8 out there. We don't need any context or anything, no.
Yes.
Can I just say this fanfiction has one of the best villains ever in it?
But yes, I will be reading, as GoldPhoenixRanger said, Chapter 8. And what we'll do is I'll read that. It's not that long. and afterwards we're going to have a little discussion about it, what we liked about it and didn't like about it, and just kind of talk about it a little bit to highlight it. So that's the section in a whole. So let's go ahead and get started with this. Chapter 8 of Defenders of the Grid, Season 1. Sophia looked around as the light hurt her eyes a little. It was almost slow motion to her as she felt disoriented as she approached the middle of the pit. The crowd were really booing her and throwing their rubbish. She was, after all, a slave that betrayed her owner. That was the worst case of scum in most of their eyes. First, weighing in at 108 pounds from right here on Earth. Measuring in at 5 foot 5 inches, the slave girl who loves pink, number 3000. Sophia looked angry hearing her old slave number get read out instead of her name. It was as if they had stripped her of everything she had fought to get. Next up, weighing in at 155 pounds, from right here on Earth also, measuring in at 5 foot 6 inches, the warrior woman herself, Helena Domino! The announcer called out, introducing the opponent. No, Sophia shouted out in disbelief as a red-headed Amazon-like woman walked on the battlefield. Sophia looked at her, remembering who she was. Hello, TT. The woman grinned like a Cheshire cat. Sophia remembered back to when she was a little girl. The memory was of the first day of Slave Academy, the school where slaves are chosen to be either pleasure slaves, handmaidens, laborers, or soldiers. Some were even chosen for a combination of them. It was combat class, and Sophia picked up her stick to duel. She kept dropping it, though, but soon had a grip. Hello, TT. It's your lucky day. You get to be beat by the best, a red-headed girl grinned. TT? Sophia asked her, looking confused. 3000. TT for short, silly. I'm 2993, but you can call me TNT. I know it's missing an N, but I like it. Why are you not ready? Do you not want to serve, Princess Regina? TNT asked her in shock. No, I don't want to serve anyone. I just want my mommy back. She whimpered like she would cry. TNT knocked her to the floor with her stick. Look, it's not that bad. The princess is very pretty. Besides, we can be friends if you like. TNT smiled. Sophia smiled back as she got to her feet. Back in the pit, Sophia smiled to her once best friend. TNT, we don't have to do this, Sophia begged her friend, trying to avoid a fight. Do not call me that. Unlike you, I actually earned my name back. You betrayed our princess. What's worse is you actually became a Power Ranger. You know what they will do to you for that? However, come back. Join us. Serve the princess and go back to your natural place, kneeling by her throne, Helena said. It was as if she was begging too, begging to try and reach her friend who she believed was in the wrong. I can never serve her. She is evil. You have to see that. Look how many lives she has ruined with her evil, Sophia responded. Then you are as lost as they say. Excuse me. The Power Rangers are evil. They have clouded your judgment. I'm sorry, my friend. I must end this, Helena told her, stepping back, ready to fight. Regina smirked in delight as she watched. She had chosen this fight on purpose. The idea that two best friends will kill each other just to please her was delicious. Sophia took her morpher from the middle. She walked slowly back to her side. She placed the morpher on her wrist above the shackle and brought it up. This time around, though, she did not press it straight away. She looked to her friend, then at the princess, as if she was searching for hope. Ranger up! Defender 4! Pink! She finally called out, breaking the silence as she transformed into the pink Power Ranger before everyone's eyes. Pink? Judging by how you just took off, I thought you'd be yellow, her friend said in a snarl. Helena finally ran at her and jumped up to kick her in the face. Sophia quickly ducked and rolled under it, evading the attack. Helena looked a little shocked as she did not expect her to dodge. I see you've been training, but do not get too confident. You are and will always be just a slave, while as I am the elite of this army. I'll kill you clean. That is the way of this world. Do you know how many of our friends I saw killed because of you, you ungrateful little bitch? Helena said venomously. Because of me? Sophia looked shocked under her helmet. You decided to change the natural order of things. Slaves rebelled thinking they could all be like you. Each and every single one of them was killed for their betrayal. Some slaves began to see you as a hero. I see you for what you truly are, A vulture who preyed on the death of a pathetic criminal, the red-headed woman said. Sophia could tell from her words how much she was hated. Were we ever truly friends? Sophia asked. Helena said nothing and instead ran and attempted a punch. The Pink Ranger blocked and kicked to the side. The kick was grabbed as Helena lifted her leg and swept the free hand. Sophia fell down, landing on her chest. Excuse me. Helena lifted her leg high above her head and slammed it down. The Pink Ranger rolled out of the way as the heel of the boot slammed into the ground hard where her head had been. She got to her feet and ran towards the side of the stadium. Helena chased after her. The blonde hero leaped high into the air, landing on the balcony near the front row. Helena looked up as the Pink Ranger refused to come down. A man reached forward and shoved her forward. As the Pink Ranger fell, she turned her body in midair and came down with her foot extended in to a kick and kicked her former friend hard in the face. Helena was down this time. Sophia ran to the side and pulled out her blade, slicing through a nearby chain. She wrapped the chain around her opponent, binding her to the wall. She then walked forward and demorphed, looking up at the princess. They locked eyes for a moment before the hero spoke. It's over. I'm stronger and faster than her now. I'm a ranger. I won't kill her. I won't, she said, still looking up. You must. You cannot leave this pit until you have proven you are willing to take a life, Regina responded. No, Sophia said, standing defiant. If you don't, your friends in the back, who have no powers at the moment, will be killed, Regina casually told her, looking at her nails as she spoke. If that's how it must be, you win. Sophia summoned her defender stick. She turned to her former friend and walked towards her. Regina smiled as she watched the girl walk to her fallen friend. Sophia then turned around quickly, releasing the defender stick. It flew through the air like a dart and stuck in Regina's face. Unfortunately, another slave caught it before it went in fully. As a part of the blade was pulled out, Regina felt blood run down her forehead. You said I had to prove I would kill. You didn't say who. Sophia looked up. Regina, for the first time in her life, looked afraid. If the slave had not caught the blade, she would be dead. They all knew it too as the crowd went silent. It was a shock to everyone who witnessed it. Finally, Regina wiped the blood and took a step forward. You struck me, she said in shock. No, I struck a blow for freedom. All of you here today, rise up. Take your freedom, she yelled, looking at the crowd. Freedom, 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 freedom. They chanted as they began to riot. Sophia took the opportunity and quickly pulled out the other morphers, running back to the cells to free her friends. One slave can cause all this? Ugh, that girl's giving me such a headache! John, kill her, she ordered. She was no longer amused by the Rangers. John Berenger ran to follow the girl. Regina shook her head as the stadium was in chaos. She knew she should calm it, but hated how easily the girl had caused this. And that's the end of chapter 8. So, now we'll move on to the discussion portion of the program. And we do happen to have the author of this fanfic with us, Chriz the Mole. Hi, Chriz.
Hello.
So I do have to say, and I'd like to get this out there, I know I said this was supposed to highlight member stuff, and here I am choosing a staff member's fanfic. But I chose it because I absolutely love this fanfic, and that was my favorite chapter of the fanfic, so yeah, I think it's awesome. So, GoldPhoenixRanger, Red Mystic Ranger, what did you guys think of this fanfic?
Can I just point out, first of all, there's going to be grammar mistakes in there, and probably some spelling mistakes. Also, I noticed a mistake when you read that out.
Oh?
I believe when you read out her morph in the pit, she called her number as Defender 4 Pink. She should be Defender 5. That's what she is in nearly all the story besides that chapter.
Oops. Oh, you'll have to edit that later.
I will.
Anyway, yes, let's discuss this fabulous fanfic, and since I've been doing all the talking because I read it out, I'm gonna let our head admin and my good friend Red Mystic Ranger give their opinions on this fanfic.
I said at the beginning, I just love Regina.
She's awesome.
One of the best written villains that I've ever read.
Wow, that's high praise, Mr. Mole.
I know why he's saying that though. It's because of all the sheer amount of sex she has for the whole story.
She's just a big slut. She's nothing more than a hussy. Who's just trying to... Yeah. You know.
Do we even still have Gold Phoenix Ranger with us?
I am right here.
Yay! Register your opinion, please, boss.
Good fanfiction.
Really? That's it?
No, I'm kidding. I really like the story. I think it's a good story because it's got a combination of aspects of both fun and a lot of serious dramatic stuff going on, and it balances very nicely. I mean, you've got certain certain aspects that are really serious, like the whole the battle in the arena that Decade just read, and certain aspects like that. But then you've got certain aspects of there's some romance going in there, certain characters, and not just sex but actual romance. And there's a lot of fun moments that are in there too, just for a joke and a laugh here and there, and that really helps balance it out and really even out the tone a little bit, so it's not all serious, dark, depressing shit.
Although I will point out, it wasn't originally rated R. I was going under the pretense that it doesn't need to be rated R to include the stuff I need to. I'm just gonna leave it like that until I went to one of the chapters later on, and there was no way it couldn't be rated R after I wrote a giant one whole chapter fucking sex scene. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to pull the trigger and make it rated R.
Mm.
But I like that. I like when Power Rangers is mixed with rated R shit. It works.
Well, especially with the way you wrote the villainess. She couldn't be anything but rated R.
Pretty much.
Well, to be fair, it was mainly implied she had. Okay, it was flat out said a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed the fanfic. There's a lot of really, really good character development in the story, and that's saying a lot given how short the season is. And that's probably one thing I kind of don't like about it is how short it is. Because I think,
Decade, you would be the expert on short.
Whoa.
fuck you all. But no, I mean, I'd really love to see Mole. I'd really love to see what you would do if you had decided to make it like a full Power Ranger season, make it like fucking 20 chapters and expand the chapters a little bit. I'd love to see what kind of character development stuff you'd have for the characters if you did that.
I'm currently working on another one, which the second one may possibly be a little longer. I'd already considered making it longer. The second story, which is there, but it will also point out I will also mention for the story, it's technically an alternate universe story.
Yes, it is. I was actually going to mention that. I like one thing I really loved about your fanfic is how you took an old Sentai team, old Sentai suits that Saban never used for Power Rangers, and instead of making them old Rangers, you kind of set them in the future, but you had a reason for why they looked a little bit dated, why they didn't look necessarily as, high tech or futuristic as say like SPD, and it works. And it's like, sometimes members and like yourself, Mole, have more creativity than Saban does, because holy crap, if Saban tried to be this unique, then yeah, Power Rangers would be friggin' awesome. And we know they can do it because we've seen Saban do it.
Yeah.
I will also say one of the things with Saban is I've never seen the Sentai.
Yeah.
I just went by the pictures and I thought, okay, they got ranks down them. This looks like a spaceship and stuff. Cool, it must be set like Power Rangers in space. I must make it like I must make it in space and stuff, and it kind of worked. And then I went on YouTube and I watched the intro for the Sentai. I'm like, yeah, this is nothing fucking like what I imagined it was.
Yeah. Hopefully, like people from Toei, hopefully they can read English, and B, hopefully they'll actually read some of these fanfics and realize, yeah, it's actually better when you don't force the people to stay true to what you've created, because they can take the concept of what you've created and adapt it for a different audience and make it good.
Like, I always point this out, like seasons like RPM where they took the Sentai and made it something completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
Those always end up being really good seasons.
Yeah, case in
most
point,
of
Power Rangers in space.
Yeah, that too.
But that's one thing, like I said, I really do love about this fanfic, Defenders of the Grid, is that Mole did exactly that. He took something old and gave it a viable, logical reason why something in the future would be that old and would
Yeah.
look like that. And I think, you members should definitely give it a read. Again, it is rated R, so be wary of that. There will be links below.
I will say, if you do read it, there is a discussion topic up in the discussion segment. I would like feedback on it to hear like what people actually think about it. Because so far, the only people I know that have read these have been the people I speak to on Skype, and that's mainly because I link them to it.
Pretty much.
It's very good. You all should really check it out.
But that's the purpose of the section, is to highlight something that maybe people wouldn't necessarily read, or that not a lot of people have read.
Right.
Say, read this, it's good.
And just so people know, the discussion is in the Artist Cove. It's not in the actual. It's like a subsection of the Hold on.
Yeah, we'll have a link to the discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you unfamiliar with the fanfiction section with the writer's scroll under Morgana's mind, there is a subforum of the writer's scroll entitled the Author's Cove, where some authors have threads about themselves and their various fanfictions, and which are used effectively the way discussion threads are used for RPGs. So, discussion for the fanfiction should be there, because Molo is one of those authors who would rather have just the straight story within the story thread and the discussion elsewhere, so it doesn't interrupt the flow of the story.
Right.
Yeah, and I also put up, like, in the story, you're going to see bios and shit. I will warn you about that. I no idea why I did them. I just thought it'd be cool. But in the discussion segment itself, I have kind of made the discussion about any and other fucking story. So it's also for part 2 as well as it is for part 1. Just because I was like, well, no one fucking responded to part 1's one. I couldn't really be asked making another fucking empty thread.
Yeah, fair. And the bios are some of the best parts of the fanfic, because those were done well as well. But I think that's all we've got for the RPG fanfic section for this podcast. So thanks, right, Mystic Ranger? Let's move on.
Thank you. That was awesome. Now we're going to get to the best part of the night. That would be the discussion topic.
I take exception to that.
Every week. And for that, what did you just say?
I take exception to that. The best part of it. You were just talking about my work. What the hell? Not cool, bro. Not cool.
You know I love it. You know I love it.
Yes.
But you know what I mean. Yeah. So let's go to Mr. GPR over there. What's up, man?
Sky, birds, airplanes.
Oh, good
clouds.
one. Great.
The price of petrol.
Awesome.
Yeah, the price of gas. Yeah, that's a good one.
Ain't it though?